We're all going to die. But I don't know when. So a little bit of an introduction. I don't know if I've reviewed any of the Final Destination films, but I've watched all of them, which is Final Destination 1, Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3, and yes, if you have been seeing this channel, I recently did a song from both Final Destination 1, 2, and 3, which is, I think, the song that's in the airplane in Final Destination 1, the song Highway to Hell, which is in Final Destination 2, I don't remember the exact name of the first one, and There's Someone Walking Behind You. And that is a reference to I made a Lego plane and I thought it was funny to put the first one from Final Destination, but because I didn't want the same song, I just put the two songs that are connected to a vehicle, being Highway to Hell is connected to the pilot, and There's Someone Walking Behind You is both connected to the first section, which is connected to, again, another car accident, and later is also maybe in something else, and is also in the trains. That's just me being morbid. So. But when I heard this, because Final Destination 5 came out a while ago, it was a while, and if you would have said my favourite Final Destination 1, I would more say either going to Final Destination like 3 or even 5. Five's fun. 4 is odd. I would say if you include bonus sections, I would say Final Destination. No, I think it's still 3. Yeah, 3 with, that mechanic. Because that was fun. Even though mostly it didn't really change much, people still died. It was fun. And I liked the sort of idea. So yeah. But, so if you want to summon any theory channels about this, there's a couple of things which I find is interesting about this. Which is essentially, let's go through it. Because one of the things that happens at first, which is the important part, is one of the most important things about this is, the deaths. And the first thing is that here's the thing that happened in the 80s, and here's the result of it. It's, where's the thing? The bloodlines. So as a result, the death that happened originally, that was on, the Skyview Tower, it happened ages ago. Also, I love how it affected everything. I also love death being they didn't fix it, because if the tower didn't come back, maybe they wouldn't because of the tragedy. But that doesn't affect any part of the story, because it didn't get reopened anyway. So yeah. But, if you look at the bloodlines of what happened, the one thing which I love is you have the character, and then a lot of the deaths, including one of the deaths, which I'm wow, they showed 2 deaths, which was the death that was in the tattoo shop, which, spoilers, because it's a spoiler section, he didn't die that. The first death is, I think, the sort of great uncle. Not the great uncle, the uncle, who dies by sort of having a lawnmower cut a bit off the top. And then you have the cousin in a garbage disposal. And then, because you thought the more older brother was next, you didn't get it correct. But then he dies in the magnet accident. And a lot of people have said the reason why this is what Bloodworth says. If you try and mess with death, things get applied. However, I have a theory. So, here's the thing. This is a theory. This is hypothetical. This is my theory. Summon film theory, summon all of them. I don't mind. This is me going on a rant, okay? Cut the review time. I'm not going to actually change it, but cut the review time. Theory. He was supposed to die in the tattoo shop. And the reason why I say that is because if you know the whole point of Final Destination is if you avoid it, is if someone bumped you off. And in Final Destination 2, you had one of the characters bump someone else off, and that person was going to die. Correct? That's Final Destination 2. How is it important here? If that character would have died, what would happen to the kid? And what do I mean by that? Well, that event would not have happened. The guy would have gone out and survived. He would have... Actually, no, the guy, if he died when he was supposed to, the big car crash situation wouldn't have happened because none of the characters in that, either in the pilot or any of the original death that was impacted by Final Destination 1, again, another proof of this theory, would have died. All that proves is that sometimes, because characters are alive, they interact. It's like the thing of, you can't change the future. You can't not change the future if you see a future because you're seeing a concept of what could be a future. By turn, changing it. So, guess what I think? Because he would have still been alive technically in this scenario, because him and the cousin, his mum and sort of his dad might have actually had a one night and then come back later. Or maybe would have had a full relationship. We don't know. Maybe he would have had any siblings. But because I'm assuming death would have took him out into accountability, I'm assuming not. Because if people did not exist, you can make that argument here or there. Not the point. That's not important. He exists, he was born, he lived, and at a certain point, at the parlour, he plays rock music. Maybe he still has this sort of, like, personality. But guess who doesn't call? His cousin, because she doesn't exist. She wasn't born because her dad wasn't born, and... Well, her mum wasn't born, and if her mum wasn't born, she can't be born. Correct? Makes sense. Because her mum, the main character's grandma, is dead. So, he plays the rock music, the statue falls, and maybe that causes a chain reaction to cause his death. Is this a stretch? Maybe. But it's one thing that I believe in, and the reason why I believe it more is because this seems to be a parallel. I'm bringing Final Destination 2 back into the picture. Final Destination 2, Claire Rivers. Claire Rivers died, even though she's not part of the Final Destination 2 group. And like I think CC well pointed out, because they're on two separate... I don't know if it was CC well or someone else. Two separate lists, they just get rid of two people from two separate lists at the same time. Is this just a big theory to explain a couple of things? Yes. Fully admit it. Does it sound insane? Also fully admit that. But it's one thing that I constantly am focusing on. Again, sorry about 5 minutes being taken off by my theory. Even though I'm probably mispronouncing that word. But I'm sorry, it's something that's on my mind. I still do love this movie, and I do think this is interesting. I just wanted to add that in. And I knew this was going to be long because of that. But... all the deaths are really cool. You get one where a person gets put into a medical thing, crushing, and definitely how the ending is done, I think is so good. Definitely when you see it through the penny, through like the newspapers, which is really clever. Definitely some of the things in the newspaper, I'm like, originally I thought some of them might have been like callbacks to the other ones, but if you read it, it's not. They're like people who aren't named, but yeah. So yeah, sorry about all of that madness. Update here, nothing much to add about. But again, do watch it. It is a bit gory for being that. But yeah. So from not knowing what the murderer is to probably having to figure out who the murderer is. Yeah, that was a weird segue, but yeah, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Which I think is interesting. It's going to be shorter. And sorry again for me ranting, but yeah. I always wanted to add this into the video, but yeah, I hope you enjoy, I hope you like the video, and yeah, I hope you enjoy, and good night. The video is over. You can carry on, scroll, it's over, I don't know.